this before. We never quite thought we could lose it all. Ready, aim, fire.
And welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in YouTube entertainment today. And today we're going to talk about my home world of Krypton. No, I'm just joking. But it is actually kind of fitting because today we're going to talk about something different that I think captivates the imagination of people. And actually, I was excited to talk about this because you guys have been hearing me rant for weeks about different things. And I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit interesting, because with this discussion, it goes into a lot of things philosophically, intellectually, debates for years, religion and science, and things like that. And look, I'm not one to put my tinfoil hat on and go, oh my God, the truth is out there and aliens are real and get David Duchovny and we got to solve some files. Nothing like that. But I think there is something to say that it would be ignorant for us to assume that in a great, wide, vast universe, in a galaxy, if you will, that we are the only ones in the universe. And it would appear that recently there has become certain, how do I say, sightings, certain things spotted that can't be explained. And, want to kick it with you guys and tell me what you think, what your views and opinions on this. So we're going to talk about some footage that was shot of UFO sightings and some different things, and how this stuff is really becoming more prevalent. And in this new age where technology is better, video quality is better, there are some pretty compellingly good shots and things like that. We're going to play the videos here tonight and let you guys decide. Are we alone in the universe, or could there be other life out there? So today, exploring the galaxy with me is Lee. Welcome to the show. So before we get started, Big Lee. I'm sorry.
Father's on, okay? Come on.
Father's on. So before we get started, give us your take. Do you believe that there is life out there, or there could be something else, in the universe besides us?
Well, I think there's something definitely in the universe besides us. What type of form it is? I mean, when you think about it, it could be something as simple as a molecule. But they've been seeing a lot of more and more stuff especially because of the equipment that we have now compared to years ago. The microscope are incredible. Not microscopes, well, telescopes are incredible they have now. The dishes they're putting up, some of them are 3-4 times bigger than football fields. And China has just recently put up a dish that's considered the biggest dish in the world. And China and the United States by far has the most, and I was just checking this information, has the most sightings of UFOs. And for some reason, can't really be explained. But the United States has them continuously, especially in the Arizona area. And they had some over Miami. Really compelling stuff. But the big thing now is the Pentagon. They released a couple months ago a thing where a pilot and his mate in a plane are following these UFOs. And when I say UFOs, it means it's pretty much unidentified flying object. So no one knows what it is. And, a lot of times they say balloons and meteors, and it's proven that it can't be, it's impossible. So if you could pull up that first one that I have there, I'd appreciate it.
First off, before we get into that, I just want to welcome a couple of people. Lemon Pie, welcome. Geekicidal Tendencies. And we got a couple of other people. I can't see you yet because StreamYard sucks with updating my chat. But Geekicidal Tendencies asked see what happened in Arcedo?
Arcedo, no, but I could check into that. The stuff that I pulled up is the stuff that I found most compelling over the last recent stuff. But if you go to YouTube, you can go back so far. It's pretty incredible. Anything that's there, you could pretty much see. But I will definitely check into that Arcedo. I like to learn any of that kind of stuff.
All right. So what's the first video that we're going to check out?
Okay. Well, this is American Navy fighters up in the air, but let me play it pretty much, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And so just so you know, last week we got a copyright infringement because we showed the Vikings, and so and I learned a lot of stuff about infringements and stuff, and so basically I got to say where we got the stuff from ahead of time, and be a little more careful. Okay, but this one is from ES News, and it's they played it, but this has been released by the Pentagon Files. You can find it all over YouTube. But I just want to play it, and we'll do that right now.
But look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not LNS though, is it? It's not. It is LNS, dude. Well, if there's like another thing, it's rotating. Check over this one thing. I'll check over it. Oh, go! Woohoo! Roger. They're troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at the fly.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this first one here, this is about as good as it gets for the simple fact that you have to remember that this is been released by the Pentagon. And the Pentagon is not going to release something. These are pilots that know how to do their job. I mean, they have no reason to lie. I mean, and you could tell by the excitement in their voices, they are literally following something. And, and it's fast. They said the gentleman that was flying the plane, he's retired, and he's on a lot of stations talking about it. If you go on to YouTube, and he was just talking about, he never really believed in the UFO thing because he's flown for 30 years and never seen nothing until this popped up. And it was like no experimental. The speed it was moving at was simply incredible. And the fact, to give you his skill level, the fact that when it was sliding across the water like that and he was able to get it on his radar like that is pretty impressive. A lot of luck involved with that, but it's pretty impressive too.
Yeah, I mean, you have the sightings where, like, you have the crazy farmer out in the middle of nowhere, and you could kind of be like, well, that's a far up shot. You can't really tell. And then you have something like that, and you got to put some credence or credibility into a fighter pilot clearly doing a run. It's in official capacity. And it's interesting because even the shape of it, I mean, they don't have like a really up close shot, but that doesn't look like the design for any kind of, plane that I've seen when I was in the service. The big carriers had jets on them. Granted, they're different from the Air Force, but the design for fighter pilots are pretty much the same. I mean, the length depends on what you're landing on. But I mean, even that doesn't look like the shape of a bomber or anything that I've seen, technically. So it's really curious, even the way it looks, the way it moves, too. Like the way it was moving side to side doesn't look like the same way a typical jet would move.
No, not at all. And the reason that's one of the reasons I wanted to show that one. Now, with Trump leaving office and he's really pissed, they say that he's going to release a lot of stuff that they don't want him to release. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does there, because Harry Reid, who used to be the Speaker of the House, he was very big into UFOs, and he fought for a long time to get them released, and nobody would ever release them. And now, because of everything that's happening, they say that Trump's gonna release them. It'd just be interesting. Can you imagine that the stuff they have, and even if they could talk about Roswell, what's going on there?
Yeah, that would be really fascinating. Get some of those documents. Welcome some dude. Welcome Stone Cold Jeremy. Don't have a beer, but I'll toast an imaginary one to you. And Wookiee supremacy. Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a bit. And Geekicidal tendencies in this comment cleared up my horrible pronunciation. He said Arecibo Observatory. Thank you, Stone Cold. A villain isn't very good at pronunciations. So he says it's the big telescope from the movie Contact with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. Interesting. Yeah, I definitely would like to look that up. I know it was a real thing that they put in the movie.
And where is that? Where is that telescope based? Is it based off the islands of Hawaii, or I know they have a huge telescope out there.
I can't remember. I remember the scene from the movie, but I can't remember exactly where supposedly it took place, and who knows if they said the actual name. I'd have to go back.
I'm sure Geekicidal is going to give us an answer on that. And we're without PB tonight, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, me and PB did something last night. I know he, with Christmas and the holidays and stuff, he had a lot going on. So,
well, I'm ready to. If you want to pull up this next one, we could show this one also.
Yeah. So on to the next clip. Okay. And what we got going on over here?
Okay, now this one is from 3 days ago, and it's from China. It's from China also, and it's really kind of scary actually. No one can explain what it is, but I'm just going to play it, and you can take a look at it.
不是彗星，这不是彗星，这是什么呀？
Wow, that looks like a fireball.
Okay, and I wanted you to see that because it didn't land nowhere. It was. What's that?
It almost looked like a giant fireball just traveling. You know what I mean? It could be the glare, but it looked like but you could tell it wasn't. It was moving around.
Yeah, and the thing with that is that there was no. China doesn't always give the facts, but they're saying that there was no meteor. It wasn't a meteor. And the way it lit up, you see the way it lit up the neighborhoods. So basically, to light up the neighborhoods like that, I mean, if a meteor gets over your neighborhood and lights it up like that, the chances are your neighborhood's going to blow up. If it's a meteor. And
we've seen Armageddon.
Yeah, so that's and now I'm going to go to this next one right here, and let's see. This is City News. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take this one down and redo this.
All right, and while we wait, people in the chat, let me know. Go ahead. Tell me what you think as you're watching these videos. Do you think this is concrete evidence? Are you like, oh no, it's a water balloon over an exercise? Or whatever. Feel free to let me know in the comments because I'm really curious. I think there's something about this topic in general, and I think just you have a lot of stuff that comes out. Inquirer was famous for it back in the day, but you have the subgroup where there's the oh oh my goodness, this isn't real, or you're crazy if you think it's real. You got people who hit it from a scientific angle and say, well, it's crazy for us to think. Why is there not other forms of life out there? And then, you got some people just in the middle and maybe people who don't want to know. And to be honest with you, I don't blame that group of people. Look at all of the media we have surrounding alien invasions, the movies we've seen. You go anywhere from ET to Independence Day, So it's fascinating to me to determine, is this real? And, two questions I think we want to ask ourselves too. One, is it real? And two, how many people want to know the truth exactly? Because people inherently by nature can be stupid and afraid of what they don't understand. I mean, so do people even really want to know the answer? I mean, it's cool for us to sit here, speculate, and talk about it, but do you really want to know if there is life out there? Because then there's always that looming question: what do they want? Are they friendly? It's all very compelling and fascinating stuff. I think that there's great aspects to it. So
let's play this next one, Lee. And you got to, okay, here we go right here.
Oh, we're in Russia. And what's up, Fights the Zombies? Good to see you here.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Well, there's no way those are meteors because they all fly in really like next to each other. There's no way it's space junk. It looked like four things lined up. It could have easily been part of a bottom part of a vessel or four things just lined up. I'm going to tell you a story back when I was 18 years old, and I lived in New York at that time. One day, I seen these lights, and they were in a cigar shape, and I was with my aunt and a couple other people in the vehicle, and I was driving. So what I did is I followed these lights up to the top of the hill, and I got out, and they were screaming at me to get back in the vehicle, get back in the vehicle. And all I remember is when I looked up, they were directly above me, and there was no noise. And so I wasn't the only one to seen it. A lot of people seen it and reported it, and it was near an army base. And the army released the following day that it was helicopters. And the problem is, I don't understand how they were helicopters. That's the one time that I seen something I cannot explain, and that it's obvious the military was lying because. Even they're silent helicopters, but you could still hear them if they're that low. I could not hear nothing. They were just four lights, and they were all very, very even, and they were directly above me. And then all of a sudden they took off, and and that's just my story right there.
That's it. It's so interesting because What makes this really interesting, especially with the videos you showed, while, yeah, we don't get a clear view of exactly what it is, there's still enough of a picture where you could kind of dismiss a lot of the things that they come out and say about it. And the way the patterns, or in like in that first video, just the way that it moves is unlike anything that I've seen flying, or most people who are watching, or who's seen planes and things. They don't typically move like that. That one looked like that shot was almost from a satellite or something. It looked outside the atmosphere. So for it to be moving like that is definitely not. It's definitely not a plane. It's outside of the atmosphere itself. So, I mean, that's really, really crazy. And what's even more interesting, I think, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I think in this age, in this modern age that we have, it's a lot easier to get shots than it was, 40, 50 years ago.
Everybody
These
has a
cameras.
everybody has a phone. Everybody has a phone, and the phones on these, like the new phone on the new iPhone, is phenomenal. So you can even have a top-notch camera now with lenses and everything. You're always carrying one. Everybody is carrying one.
I also too wanted to say something a little bit off topic, but I wanted to thank this person again. The person in the chat, Jamie Vick. Hi, by the way. She donated to the GoFundMe, and I wanted to thank her again because me and my girlfriend really appreciated that, and everybody else who was in the chat, Stone Cold Jeremy, all of you folks who did that. Um, Once again, thank you, and I will continue to thank you because we feel extremely touched and blessed by that. So thank you all enough if I haven't said it. Curtis, welcome. We're talking a little bit off topic. We're talking about um, the new sightings that are out there, and UFOs, which I guess fits the fandom zone a little bit. And we're talking about how it's getting a little bit harder for the government and various apparatuses to disprove this stuff, and open up the question: do you guys think there is life outside of the universe? I mean, it's a vast universe, and I think that it's an interesting topic. It's interesting to explore. Is there other things out there? And how do you feel about that? Does it make you intrigued? Do you want to know more? Does it scare you? I mean, I think it's a great discussion, And Dad, here's a good question here. What do you think this would mean? How do you think people would react? Because I've always felt one way.
Well, the worst thing that it would do, it would kind of put theological stuff and Bible. It would make you reconsider religion more than anything. Because if these societies are that advanced, that means they've been around for millions of years. If they could fly from another part of the world and come to this world, and we're talking that we could do things in light years. Like it will take what, 8 years to get to, they say, to get to Mars, and Mars is fairly close. But if you have these ships and stuff coming from other parts of the world, it pretty much squashes the Bible. I mean, and at one time, this country was based on religion, and it is no longer based on religion. Every day, it's turning away from religion. I go to church, and I hope that doesn't happen. But it is one of the reasons that you have never heard about it. Like with Roswell and stuff, it was always the churches that didn't really want anything released because. Well, once it happens, it basically shuts the Bible down.
Well, here's my thing. Why can't, it's always been fascinating, and I guess you have to bring up the religious thing when you talk about stuff like this, but I've always seen the religion and Bible being able, or Bible and science being able to work together and sort of help each other out to explain things. I think religion is important because, look, everybody needs something to believe in. And I think it's great to have faith in a higher being, because really, when you think about the other end of it, then it's like, well, if there's nothing, that's kind of a depressing thought at the end of it all, right? Like I never got how I know some people don't believe in anything, but I never got how you could. I think it gives people a sense of hope, a sense of purpose, and stability. Also, to that end, too, science can do the same thing. Science can explain and give us ideas about things we think that are just, we take for granted, like the color of the sky and grass, and, how things work with plants and chloroform and, that kind of a thing. Like everything within nature itself, too, is a real wonder. It's a miracle. And, my question would be, do you think, even if they prove, okay, there's extraterrestrial life out there, there is something, we've made contact, we've talked with intelligent beings, do you still think, though, that religion and science could go hand in hand? Because it always comes
Here's
back
the first
to
thing. Here's the first thing.
who created them.
If they're intelligent life, they wouldn't want to talk to us because we're like nothing to them. We're meaningless. They are so far advanced to us that, they could literally decide, if they decided to, say they decided that they just wanted to destroy the earth.
Oh God, that'd be scary.
Well, if they wanted to, they don't even have to attack. All they got to do is send down signals to interfere with all our signals and shut down all our electric. It'd be like solar flares. Anything that works would not work. Everything that we have now is on computers. Weapons are computerized. Subs computerized. We have nine of the most computerized ships in the world. I mean, let's put it this way. We have 9 aircraft carriers. The only closest country to us is China, which has 1.5. They're building one right now. And these things are so advanced and so computerized as the nuclear subs are. And we're so far ahead of the rest of the world with nuclear subs. Are the one thing America knows how to do better than anybody is build weapons. We are great at building weapons. For some reason, we don't know how to build a TV, but we're really good at building weapons. So, I can never figure that one out. We can't figure things out, but we have the best weapons in the world. And China is trying to catch up, and they're like, wow, we just can't catch up to them weapon-wise. They can catch up to us in money. They can catch up to us in business. But they've proven that the only thing they have over us, China, is they have a lot more people. But their weapons are nothing. They're tanks. We have air conditioning in our tanks. And our tanks are so advanced compared to theirs. If anybody wants weapons, they'll go buy the junk from Russia, but they'll buy the good stuff from us. And that's what it comes down to. And China just cannot catch up. They've been trying to catch up, but if they, here's what it comes down to. As long as no one shoots nuclear missiles off, there's no one that could possibly battle us at any field in this world and even come close to beating us. And, people say, oh, China's catching up. No, they're not. China has one aircraft carrier. We have 9. Think about that. 9
And
to 1.
I just wanted to get to some comments because I want people to know I'm following you. The first one was by Tiffany Daniels. Welcome, Tiffany. Very, very good comment. And then I'll go to Jamie Vick next because these are some really great comics. Thank you, guys. I'm grateful for the engagement. Said, I never thought the existence of aliens affect the Bible. It covers our world. It does not say there are no other worlds or life. Very true. Very, very true. Jamie Vick says, I don't think it shuts the Bible down. There's nothing saying God only created one planet. I was like, yeah, that is true. There's nothing
Yep.
in the Bible. And I think that's why this is a great topic to have. And I think that's why you can
And
kind
people
of,
like us, yeah, people like me or people like Jamie Vick or the other young lady that's they
Tiffany.
make good Tiffany, they make good sense. But the problem is be the Bill Maher's of the world. And one thing I'll tell you about atheists. You ever notice how mean atheists are? You ever
Yeah.
notice that most atheists are mean liberals? I mean, they're just mean. They have no
I've
compassion.
had some
Yeah.
I've had some arguments, and I've talked to some atheists too that just they just don't believe in that. They typically tend to lean more towards science, which is fine, but there's still even a lot of things in science that can't be proven. Just like you can't disprove everything in the Bible, you can't disprove everything in science. I think that's what always makes the argument of the two seem like a wash, because each of them can prove their stuff, but no one can prove 100% all of the things that they're talking about. And that's what makes it a fascinating topic, especially now when you talk about other life, because you have these, unlike our chat we have here, who's been going back and forth and having some good points, you have this stubborn, dogmatic view, not just on religion, because they could be very stubborn. I've had my fair share of debates with religious people too. My friend Steve from New York, you know him in particular, he's just downright adamant. Like, no, there's nothing else out there. It's, he's got the Bible version of it being disproven or whatever. And I watched it with him. There were a lot of interesting points made there, but you've got stubborn religious sects, you got stubborn science community too. You got those guys with all of those PhDs, like he said, and they tend to just be like, no, I know everything, and it's creationism. And I think what makes being human, an experience, what makes us human in general is the curiosity we have, the need to explore. Just think about this, folks. Just think about this. We are such curious beings. We are so interested about going just beyond that we sent somebody to the moon. Like, that's amazing when you think about it, that someone said, you know what? I'm going to go to another entire planet. That's what I want to do.
Well,
And
that's not a
people get
planet.
their
That's
life
not a
there.
planet. That's a moon.
Well, you know what I mean. They
I
wanted to go
mean,
they wanted to go off of Earth. I mean, that one in itself is amazing. And the sad part about today that I think is that people seem to more and more be losing that curiosity and asking those questions. I mean, we
well,
talk
look
about
what's
it all
going
the
on. Look
time.
what's going on right now. We have our leaders shutting down our churches. That's the first thing they're aiming at, is shutting down the churches. So, because church gives you solidarity, it gives you, anybody that lives a life of, it seems with their church is much happier than people that don't. That's a proven fact. And so now they're trying to pass all these rules, and it's one party passing the rules for the churches. It's liberal Democrats, and who are pretty much, I'll give you an example. Nancy Pelosi and Mario Cuomo go to church, and they're Catholics. And the Catholic religion says that abortion is wrong, but yet they are for abortion. So it's obvious, and this is not an abortion debate by any chance. I'm just using that as an example. So, and Nancy Pelosi's 81 years old, and she's a very mean lady. There's nothing godly or religious or anything about Nancy Pelosi or the Pope. The new Pope, the things he's saying, about everything he's saying is going against the scripture of the church. Right now there's an attack on religion in this country, in this world. China, China has put 2 million, close to 2 million Muslims in concentration camps in the last 2 years. And you
Which
can,
that's just horrible.
and they're, if people go into China that are going to visit their family, they're not letting them out. And they're literally, Muslims are just disappearing. And China's,
That's scary. That's scary. And see, this is the thing. And you can even track this to back in the day. That there's just something about the unknown that seems to just scare people. I mean, if you want to take it in a biblical sense, you can find traces of like Jesus Christ, right? And that whole story. What does it come down to? A man performing miracles people can't explain, and it scares everybody, and they kill him for it. And I mean, if you're boiling it down simplistically, and it just makes me wonder, like, is the world even ready to accept and open their mind to something larger? Because the scary part is, as we get more technologically advanced, as we start to expand into Twitter and social medias and, supposedly connecting with more people around the world, it seems like we're losing the most fundamental part of being a human being. And that's being curious and being open to the possibility of new things. I mean, look at just being able to fly, right? Who was it? The Wright brothers that came up with flying?
yes.
The White.
Well, they built the first planes. They built the first planes.
Just think if they never, like when you think of that concept, it's just crazy within itself. Could you imagine what people said to them when they said, "Oh yeah, we're going to fly"? Could you? I mean, now
Can
we
you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if someone? Can you imagine up to 20 years ago? I remember I seen a movie. It was a movie called Wall Street, and it had Michael Douglas in it, the original Wall Street. It was a classic, and it had Charlie Sheen before he went absolutely nuts. And there was one part where he's carrying this huge phone around the beach, and everybody in the theater is going, "Wow, look at that damn thing he's carrying." They were like awed by this fancy phone. If someone told you 25 years ago, that everybody was going to carry a phone now, everybody was going to have the internet at their fingertips. And, and that includes poor people. Poor people now think they're poor, but they have no idea what poor really is in this country because of the fact they always have the internet at their fingertips. And it's a lot easier for them to find things if you're poor than it was before they had the internet. So, and I'm talking about like going to community churches, food banks, and stuff like that. There was a time you just had to get on the phone and call people and just hope for the best. And when you think about this, it's like, and that's what's really, that's why they're going into the churches now, because of all these things. They're, let's face it, all this stuff that's happening now, as great as it is, there's no doubt that it's affecting our society in a negative way. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. It's out of control what's going on the internet with people having their identity stolen and having. I had a debit card with $800 on it. It went onto my card at 12 o'clock at midnight. This was about a year ago, and at 12:01, somebody, and I'm in Texas, and somebody who didn't even have my card went to a bank in New Jersey and used the ATM and pulled all my money off my card without my actual card.
See, and that's scary because when you think about it, and Curtis put it the best here, he says it kind of is. The more we learn and the more we realize how much we don't know, it's very difficult to put it still together correctly. And, Curtis, stop me if I'm wrong, but I think what he's saying is like the more we get advanced, the more we learn about stuff, the harder it is for people to put stuff in a way that our human psyche can rationalize it. I mean, it's a pretty big deal to seriously be talking about UFOs. I mean, like years ago, you would see these shows and Dad, you know what I mean. I'm sure you've watched them too. And you know, these guys out in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, that guy kind of looks like, he might have been a little bit nuts living secluded and stuff like that. But it's like now you're talking about populace of people, groups of people seeing these things that used to be so easy for them to just dismiss, disprove. They come out and say it's a training exercise, and it kind of astonishes me how accepting people are. And it's like now, with footage like that, that was some pretty clear footage. I mean, with that kind of camera work, with the way things look, it gets harder for even a rational person to say, that looks kind of suspicious.
Yeah, there's something going on, and they keep, and every time they say something, they do their best to explain it away. But when you think about what's going on right now with, I'll give you an example, children. Who would have ever thought that? Just picture this: that we would have a virus hit, and that people would succumb to the masters, put mask on their face, and listen to everything they're being told. Literally, you have people that are acting so scared. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, people aren't even fighting back. They're just submitting like it's nothing. And they're using the internet to make us submit. They're just using things to make people submit.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and if they don't, I'm kind of ashamed of people, because especially younger people. I'm older, and younger people are so easy to brainwash and control. And right now, it's the middle-aged people and the older age that are trying to fight back and say, "Look, this ain't right." But young people, they're just submitting like it's nothing, and that's the scary part, because when we're gone, when the older culture is gone, all the young people are going to be controlled like robots. They already are. I hate to say it. If you're younger, I'm not trying to insult nobody, but if you're 30 and under, you have not seen the real world. You don't know what the world is that I came from. And the way you're submitting to these people is really sad.
Yeah, and I've been talking about this on my channel too, on the entertainment side. It's not hard to pick out the spin if you know how to look for it, because you'll catch a story and you'll see someone say the same thing different ways, but the same exact, just about wording about the same thing. And it's scary how people don't try to decipher, the messages between it. And, I got some younger audience here who's pretty clear-headed, and, they come and they have really good opinions, but yeah, they see few and far in between. And it's one of those things where you got to read more in between the lines. Jamie Vick had a great statement here. She said, the problem isn't that we don't have the answers. The problem is we don't know what questions to ask. That's a very good statement. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Geekocidal Tendency said, did you guys see the training videos, OG, the Blackhawks in downtown LA and Miami a few years back? They are real and terrifying. And no, I got to go check that out. And Curtis says, yeah, that is, you're clarified that even more than I thought about. Thank you.
Well, and we're talking about, what I've been seeing a lot lately, and it's kind of scary. I've been seeing a lot of airplanes flying low, military airplanes here in Texas flying very low over cities. I live in a little town, and in this little town, we're outside of Amarillo. There's been a lot of, and we don't even have bases around here. And I've been seeing a lot of planes flying low. So, I'm pretty sure something's about to happen. I don't know what it is. And in the way, I'm kind of hoping something happens because we're submitting so easily, and we're submitting the Chinese. Now, you have to understand the Chinese government does not believe that churches should exist in their country. The Chinese government is so deeply entrenched in this country. The Chinese are taking everything over from the churches, from businesses, and everything. They're even still to our politicians. All these old bastards are like Joe Biden and just all of them, Republicans, Democrats, most of them. They're all being bought out by the Chinese. So that, that's going to be more attack on religion. And I'm afraid, I'm really scared because if something isn't done before Biden takes office, I don't know what's going to come of this country, and the fact, and talking about computers and stuff like that and how advanced the world is, Joe Biden only won 4 areas of the country that he had to win in order to win the election. At every other part of the country, he did awful. Even New York, he did bad. California, he did bad. He did much worse than Hillary Clinton. But yet he won these 4 counties that he had to win across the country, in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. 4 counties that he had to win. And he won those, and it was because of computers and being able to do things with computers. But, now we have a big problem. And I'm not sure if anything's going to be done. And we'll see within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But if nothing's done, they're talking. Let's think about this. We got our immigration under control. The walls are up. Immigration's way down. We literally did whether you like Trump or not, you got to give him credit. He got control of immigration. It stopped coming. And now you got all these caravans building up all through South America, and they're all waiting for Trump to leave office. And they're all going to swarm our walls. We're going to let them in. And this is all about votes. And they're going to let them in the country and overwhelm our immigration system. And people are acting like this is okay. And yet, if you look at this bill that they just passed, did you know that the bill they just passed, the stimulus bill, that there's money going to 3 different countries from us? One of the countries that's going to is Jordan. We're sending them $500 million to build a wall. So the politicians that don't want to build a wall in this country have sent money to 3 countries to build walls.
Yeah, I always found that kind of a weird contradiction, being that was such a hot button issue. But and this is the thing that swings back to our original topic, which is whether or not people will be accepting of life out there. Is that there's so much stuff going here that honestly, it's just kind of, it's crazy.
Nothing seems out of this world anymore. With all the stuff happening, nothing seems strange anymore. If someone said last year at this time said a virus was going to hit and that they were going to destroy, do you realize that 80% of businesses of restaurants in New York are going to close down and they're not coming back?
So I know, I was part of a business that closed down. Yeah. I got hit literally in that demographic.
And it's obvious what it's all about. It's all in the name of big retailers shutting down the little guy. So they want us to do all our business online. They want us to food shop online. They want us to do everything online. That's their plan. They don't want us going out. They want us sitting in the house. You know what? When we sit in the house, what happens is we get lazy. We get complacent. We don't go out no more. We stay in the house. And you know what and I'm in the class right now. I'm studying for my bachelor's, and I'm doing this great course. And you know what they call the Generation Z? That's the most modern generation. They call them the glass generation because they're not the paper generation, and everything they use is with glass. But they also say that Generation Z is incapable of running this country.
Well, it's kind of funny because And once again, I want to preference this because, I do have younger audience members who are surprisingly really open minded, which I appreciate. But, I have also seen those kinds like I went in to a gas station one time. I'm sure you're surprised to hear about this, but I got lost. So I went in and it was like, oh, let me get a map and I'll check it out, right? Ask for a map. Do you know they don't sell maps anymore because of phones? Guy specifically told me this too. He goes, now with GPS on your phone, because like my phone had died, so I couldn't pull up my GPS. And so I was like, oh yeah, well, let me just get a map. And they didn't have a map in the store. And just think about that. You've got people out there that if their cell phone dies, which, let's all be real here. We all have calendars and alarms and GPS that we set on our phone. It's just easier, right? That whole argument we've been talking about now, convenience. So just think there's a new generation that doesn't even know how to read a map, a compass, the
Yes,
freaking moon, the sun.
yes, yes, that's
I
why
mean, it's real.
they call them, universities is teaching this now. They call them the glass generation. And and you know what? They're not going to graduate from school. They're going to stop going to school. They're literally want to shut the schools down now. They want everybody to learn online because when you learn online, you're easier to brainwash. So, and this is what's happening. And the scary, and don't get me wrong, I know there's some young people out there that are smart and they're not falling for this. And those are the people that they're worried about. But unfortunately, most of the younger generation Z, X, and Y, if you speak to them, let's face it, they all were told who to vote for, and they voted for who they were told to vote for. They didn't even question.
They go on Google or they go, and you know how those Google feeds work, and we've shared this and other streams. You guys can go back and look at it. I mean, who they choose to trend and things like that. Jamie Vick said a great statement here. Do you know that the illegal aliens are getting 1,800 a person, while citizens get 600? And I knew that was going to come up. And look, a lot of people are mad about that. I mean, there is a good group of people who are legitimately upset, which is why I don't care about talking about it, because that's kind of a slap in the face. She also says there's a new generation that doesn't know how to read. I don't mean you, Zod.
I love my son.
Fire tonight.
I love my son, but he's like his mother. I'll be listening to him sometimes, and he'll be trying to say words that are more than 4 syllable, and he'll get all twisted up. Really easy.
Oh man, you know what? This is the last. You guys enjoy the show. This is the last time we're gonna have elders on. No, no. PD does the same thing. So
we're going in a different area, but this is what they don't want us doing. The way we're discussing things right now, they don't want us doing this. And here's the shame part: the people being brainwashed are being brainwashed by 80-year-old liberal white people. Bernie Sanders. I mean, do you realize that the caucus that runs the Senate, the top 3 most powerful people in the Congress, Nancy Pelosi, Claiborne, and one other clown. Okay, so they're all 3 of them are over 80 years old, and they're running stuff. And what's her name? The chick from New York. What's her name? AOC.
Oh, the squad.
Well, no, AOC in general. Actually, AOC makes a lot. Do you realize she voted against this bill? Whether you like her or not.
I was actually surprised about that.
No, I wasn't surprised at all. She voted against the bill because of all the pork in it. And there were 8 Republicans that voted against the bill. Those 9 people are the people that, I give her a lot of credit for voting against the bill.
I was surprised, I'll tell you, because I've been with my 3 channels, I've been following it, and it's been interesting to see exactly who's been flipping back and forth, but I wanted to read a comment here. Geekicidal Tendency says, if you're 20 and under, payphones are just a story your parents tell you to scare kids into good cell phone practices.
You know what? When I think about, I grew up in New York City and I worked in Times Square for about 20 years. And, I grew up with phones everywhere. And, I think about it now, man, those phones are full of germs.
Oh
And
my
people,
God. Could you imagine
people picked
Corona
them up.
back then? Jesus.
But people weren't scared of germs back then. They said, fuck it. They picked it up and everybody was fine. Sure, people died every once in a while from getting a horrible disease from somebody. They picked up syphilis off the phone. Well, anyway, but people didn't think about it. When I went to high school, at lunchtime, there were a bunch of phones in the hallways, and the kids would go to the phones. And people say, oh, well, the kids need cell phones now so they can be in contact with their parents or something if something happens. First of all, most of the kids now are in high school. They have one parent. They don't even have two parents. Back when I was in high school, most kids had two parents. It was a rarity to see people, unless a parent died. People didn't get divorced. They just hated each other and stayed together. And now, look, just society has changed so fast, so quick. It's amazing. I'm lucky. I'm lucky because my age group got to see the old world and the new world. I'm a very lucky person. And I didn't grow up with cell phones and stuff. We didn't worry about phones. We just didn't worry about it. Answering machines. When I remember when beepers came out, we thought beepers were the coolest, biggest thing ever. If you had a beeper, people were like, wow, that dude got a beeper. He must be somebody. Now you guys, half the people that I talk to don't even know what the hell a beeper is.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fascinating too, because they used to pick people out, be like, oh yeah, he must be doing some illegal stuff because he's got that beeper,
Yeah.
And it looks so ridiculous. I remember seeing those. Gosh, I'm gonna go there. Yeah, I remember seeing beepers too. And it's interesting to talk about because with the change in times, it's like the more technology we get,
the easier it is to control. The easier it is to control the masses. That's, but here's the one thing. What's going to happen every 125 to 150 years? It's a proven fact that a massive solar flare comes from the sun. The last one that came has been over 140 years now. And when it came, it blew. At that time, they had all the wire machines, Western Union machines and stuff, the wires running. And when the solar flare hit, it blew them all out across the country. And back then, they didn't know what the solar flare was. And they say if a solar flare of that size hit right now, it would shut everything down that we have electrical. That means that people that have money on debit cards will not be able to go to the bank. So it's going to cause mass rioting all across the world. We're that close to having this world come to an end. Can you imagine what people would be like if a solar flare hits and they lose their internet, they lose their phone, they lose access to their money all at one time?
Oh yeah, it would be. I mean, let's just take a look.
It's going to happen. And you know what? Here's
COVID.
the thing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to solar flare. Solar flare is going to happen.
COVID did a number on us, and that was just
COVID didn't do a number on us. No, it didn't. It didn't. More people are killing themselves being stuck in the houses.
I don't mean statistically. I mean as a race, COVID has scared us into doing these things we wouldn't normally do. So just imagine a solar flare, or if we do have a Mars attacks, an Independence Day type of situation, people would have no clue what to do, because and I've talked about this before. I can't remember. Maybe you guys in the chat remember. Uh, but I believe me and PB had this conversation too before, where if all of the technology in the world just shuts down, uh, that would be the most devastating one in itself.
Cars would stop
Cars are,
running.
oh yeah,
Cars would
cars
stop
would
running.
stop running.
They're
It'd
one
be
big computer. They're one big computer. Cars would fry from the solar flare and literally stop running in the middle of the highway. And not
oh yeah,
only the banks, and this is going to happen, and they know it's going to happen, and yet they are moving so fast in this advancement, they don't care. They don't think about it. It's like it's like a fat guy that loves Twinkies and can't stop eating it, and and it's like right now the right now Wall Street's at its highest level ever, and this is in the middle of COVID. Wall Street's making more and more money now. Why is Wall Street making more and more money now? Because the big corporations like Netflix, like Amazon, they're all making tons of money with this COVID. They know that they don't care about the little guy's restaurant going out of business or the little guy killing himself because he's going to lose everything. They don't care. So, this is what's going on now. And we have cowards that will not speak about it. We have newsmen and news stations. They're all involved. It's all this big conspiracy where they're doing this to us on purpose. And it's so obvious,
oh yeah,
So when,
yeah. It just astonishes me about everything that's going on, and it really swings back to the main topic of the night, which is, even if we prove whether or not there is life out there, whether or not there's aliens or whatever, and get concrete evidence, at the current state that we're in, I mean, how would people react? What would be, everyone in my mind, it would be like,
they'd be running around the street. They'd be running around
acting crazy. It would
acting
be,
crazy.
it would be pandemonium because
You can't buy gas because your debit cards don't work. You can't do anything. It's so scary. It's 50 times scarier than COVID. It's so scary that it just happened and you realize it can happen tomorrow. One solar flare is all it takes and it will happen. And it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime, but the chances are it's going to happen in your lifetime. And so nobody has cash anymore.
Yeah, I mean, no one carries cash. It's like a foreign thing now. Even myself, I find myself, carrying my card around. It's a totally different world. So, I wanted to do just a quick little hour-long thing. I got my allergies are killing me. So I'm gonna start to wind everything down. But
this turned out tonight to be a very serious discussion. And you know what? I get nervous when I make discussions like this online because people like me or people that speak up against the system are always in danger because people don't want us to talk or to think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What did they just say? What did they just say? They said something about me. Look.
That is
Jamie Vick, you're wrong. Okay, so I'm sorry. My son and I, we have a very close relationship. You're just grabbing at straws.
I have a very supportive and lovely fan base. Thank you, Miss Jamie Vick. No, I appreciate all of you guys. And look, I wanted to do a bit of a different topic and let you guys know that we have to be free-minded and clear-headed people. Everybody in this chat, everybody who I'm talking with tonight, everyone who watches the channel, we come here, we talk, you guys talk amongst each other, you have great conversations in the chat. But we need to get more people to think outside the box. Look, it's okay to believe in what you believe in. As a matter of fact, belief to me, just taking theological or scientific thinking out of it, belief is important no matter what it is, because belief has been the foundation of building some of the greatest things in humanity. The belief that you could be better, that you could be more, that you could do more. Look, the United States of America was built on making opportunity and believing in something more and greater, that the country could be something more and greater. And the only way you can do that is to have faith in things and believe strongly in them. But at the same time, too, you have to be open-minded to other different possibilities. Look, you don't have to give up your stances, but when it comes to things like this, it's not always one-sided view one way or the other. Sometimes we got to read in between the lines, and we've got to use facts and logic along with heart, common sense, and decency. And here's what it all comes down to. Everybody has different views and opinions. It's true. And we don't all got to agree. As a matter of fact, probably a lot of us here don't all agree on the same things, but we're unified by the idea of we don't like being told to believe in certain things. And the problem is we need to raise our kids, and we need to kind of help this newer generation along to realize that they shouldn't put their faith in everything they believe, everything they read. You know, look to other sources. Think outside the box. Don't just take one thing at face value. If we all, you know, every once in a while, even if you can't pronunciate things right, pick up a book. You know, go and fact check things. Just don't take everything at face value. Then we will be more accepting and open-minded to other different possibilities. And it's not a question of, oh, I believe in God or whatever else. It's a question of believing the facts that are presented in front of you and searching for the truth, searching for those answers. The quest for knowledge has been man's greatest strength. Once we get away from that and we dumb ourselves down and we just let people tell us what is new, what's trendy, how we should vote, what we should watch, that's when we lose the fundamental thing that makes us human beings, that makes us achievers, that made us go to the moon. Okay? Those were people who refused to be happy with the answers they were given. They refused to take no for an answer. They went out and they found something different, and they presented it to the world. And you know what? Here's the fascinating part. Once it's been presented, once it's out there, once you break down those boundaries, then people see it. Then it just becomes a way of life. And that's the beautiful part about it, and why I was so excited to talk about this tonight. I'm still really excited as I'm ending this, is the possibility of, you know, things out in the universe, things unexplored. It fascinates my mind. We need more people to be fascinated, to be moved, to want to explore, to want to know things, you know, to want to have knowledge. That's the problem. Don't be force-fed your knowledge. Go out there and explore for it. Go out there and, you know, look at other stuff. You guys are all great audience. You guys all have wonderful things in your comments and great stuff that you add in. And what we need to do as the older generation, or even younger viewers who watch my channel, you guys need to spread that knowledge, because the only way we're going to combat stupidity, as PB would say, would be with facts. And PB always says, facts always trump stupid. And it's right, because facts and things that are tangible can't be disputed. He said math can't be disputed, and it can't be, because you have numbers, you have things that are there, they don't change, they're tangible. So we need to.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's funny, Lee, is I was thinking about something that I was going to do on my page, on my station. I'm going to do a show on it, and this is how the internet's really affected our society. There's a lot of gangsters that have been in jail for murder, like 10, 15, 20 murders. Sammy Gravano, a bunch of John Gotti associates. They all have their own YouTube stations now, and they talk about the murders that they committed. 60, 70-year-old men, and they have their own stations, and they're literally talking about them. And these people were in the protective custody programs. There's one, Sammy Gravano. I don't know if you remember him, Lee. He's the guy that snitched on John Gotti.
Yep.
And he went into, they put him into a program for, he spent 5 years in jail for doing 30 murders. That's how much time he got. And then when he came out, because he snitched against Gotti, John Gotti, who was the head of the Gambino family, he, after 5 years, he came out and they put him in protective custody. Then they threw him out of protective custody. And then he moved to Arizona and became one of the biggest drug dealers in the country. So when they caught him, they were so pissed at him, they sent him back to jail for 20 years. And now he's got out again. He got out about 7, 8 years ago. And so now he has a YouTube station, has 500,000 followers that listen to his show. And the other day, I was one of the people listening to the show, and he was talking about a murder he did. And people are so fascinated. But he's not the only gangster. There's tons of gangsters now that have their own shows and talk about the murders they did.
And it's, that's the thing that fascinates me about this. It's like the more we accept things, and like I said, the pursuit of knowledge is important, but yet sometimes with things like that, I mean, it's such a double-edged sword. And like anything, knowledge is probably one of the best weapons we actually possess, because the knowledge of things can get you so much power, like that story with the mobster that you just told. I mean, he has that, and he knows he can't be retried for that. He's already did his time. But now he gets away with taking someone's life and gets to use that knowledge to make himself famous. I mean, it's such a fine line. I mean, and this is since the beginning of time. It's such a fine line we walk as human beings in general. And it's very important that the things we pass along to the next generation, the things that we choose to instill are, to the best of our ability, giving our kids and future generations the knowledge to equip themselves. And the sad part, and the thing that we were swinging around to all night, is the misuse of this knowledge, or not being able to handle certain things that are coming to light. And I think that it's important, because it's a lot of what my channel covers is that, people, especially savvy media people, know how to use knowledge against people, or know how to use it as a tool and twist and manipulate what the actual facts are. And it's so important that we as people understand what the truth is, and, learn to read in between the lines, so to speak, and, grab what's vitally important. And it's even more important because I know there's a couple of people here who have kids themselves and things like that. But it's so important, too, that we teach our kids those skills of reading in between the lines. The other day, I had a talk with my daughter, and I said to her, don't believe just one thing you hear. You go out and you search it for yourself. Don't be happy with one answer. Don't be happy with what your friends tell you. You go out and you explore for yourself. You go out and you find different things, and then you use your own brain and you put together what you think the facts are. Don't let people tell you what the facts are, what your truth is. You've got to know yourself And you've got to get your own information, because people will tell you what they want to in order to get you to do what they want you to do. You've got to be smarter than that, and you've got to go out and you've got to figure out these things for yourself. And, it just, even as a parent now, I mean, you talk about how frightening it is, but I've got my daughter who's younger going up through this world. When me and you are gone, she's going to be the next one to take over. And, I think in the end, we all want this new society to be equipped with facts and not always believe, there's no elegant way to put it, but the bullshit that's always out there. The more we listen, the more we allow ourselves to be subjected and submissive to what the narrative is. You guys who follow me, y'all know what the narrative is, the overarching story. We can poke holes in it. And you know what? That's what they're scared of. They're scared of people who join this channel, who join other channels I'm part of. They're scared of you guys because you guys don't accept everything that's being presented to you. The scary part is when people like us don't exist, and then our future generations just start accepting what's presenting in front of them. Then we're dead, man. We're dead as a society. If we just don't keep an open mind, if we just accept one truth, we're done for. That's it, because there's no one left to challenge. And look, that's what God, that's what the world is built on. The world is built on someone saying, you know what, this is the way it is, and someone going, well, can we do this, this, and this? That's the fun of being human, man. And this new way of thinking, it mystifies me, because why do you want to be put in a box? Why do you want to accept one point? Where is the fun in that? Where's the fun in just accepting one thing? Why can't we have, multiple layered things? Why can't science and theology exist together? Why can't, you believe in one more than one thing? Why can't you be, invested in different aspects of politics, but not have to give your association? I mean, it's sad, because we fought for independence, but yet here we are, a couple hundred years later, and we are becoming slaves to preconceived notions. We fought. We fought another country, kicked them out, right? With the British. We fought them. We said, get the hell out of here. We're going to do what we want to do. We're going to do it our way. We're not going to let someone across the seas tell us what to do, right? And then it's kind of funny, because years and years later, here we are, and we're accepting what media tells us, what corporate America tells us. We're just accepting it, what supposedly science and everything tells us. We're just putting ourselves into this box, and I think it makes for a really dull, Neanderthalic kind of society. I don't know about you, but that's not what I want to be a part of.
Yep, and unfortunately, we're a part of it. That's
anyway,
the sad part. And it's like
You know,
I'm
this-
scared. I worry about you, and I worry about Sierra, because when I'm gone, things are just. I don't see things getting better. I just don't see it. I just see them getting worse. I mean, they literally destroyed New York City in 6 months. They went from the greatest city in the world. It went from the greatest city in the world to not even a matter anymore, because of it's dead. The whole city's dead. Businesses are dead. It's all gone. It's like, well, what they did there is horrible, and the American people let them do it.
Yeah, and that's why it's great that we have the people on that we have on right now, and the crowds that I have now. It's great to see people, because when I first started this, I started it out of anger for a movie, but I wasn't just angry at the movie. Okay, I was angry at the fact that some asshole in Hollywood was telling me what my views are and peddling it, and then pretending like.
What was the name of the movie?
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you because you're gonna, yeah.
Oh,
I'll say it's part of the Harry Potter franchise. But
oh
anyways,
God. Okay.
but anyways, the point is though, I started watching larger media and realizing, and I had a discussion with Black Angus, which was great. And we had a family stream, right? When all of the people who have kids got together and we had a discussion. It was great. And we were even talking about kids shows, right? And just all of these things they're pushing into kid shows. And look, there's a difference between putting in adult humor so we can suffer through these shows and then putting in messaging. And that's the thing that scares me is the messaging, the things in schools, the
Do you
things
see who
that
this? Do you see who the spokesperson is for the Gap?
I think I heard something about it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's that black chick that dresses up like a man. She's been around forever.
Oh yeah.
She is the spokesperson for the Kids Gap clothes. If
Well, they
someone told me
changed.
that, if someone ever told me that that was going to happen, I would have said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "That's a joke, right?"
They changed Jake from State Farm, and they don't even hide their views anymore because they were like, oh, we felt like that commercial wasn't diverse enough, and it's like it's Jake from State Farm. It's a joke, and that's the thing. Why we have our channels we have, and why so many people are upset. It's great to see there is a group here. There is a subgroup who is so tired of just this push for political correctness and stuff. And here's the irony about their argument of political correctness. They're segregating other people to make it, and I'm doing air quotes, politically correct. They are literally putting down another group. That is the very definition
What the funniest
racist
one is?
or
Out of
sexist.
out of all of them, you know what the funniest one is out of all of them? It's hilarious. The one where they now say that men can play women's sports. So basically, what they're saying is that men can take over women's sports, and women don't even have sports. That's basically
Which
what they're
is
saying. They talk about guarding a woman's right, and so now you have some kid in school that can't make the football, say the men's basketball team. So he says, well, you know what? I'm going to call myself a woman, and I'm going to go play on the women's basketball team. So some girl that comes along can't play on that team now because you have 4 or 5 guys playing on that team, and more men are becoming, and this is happening everywhere with sports, women's sports, and it's not because they're transgender, because they're looking for a way to easily be a superior athlete. Men and women are just two different type of creatures when it comes to athletics, and it's happening everywhere. Now
yeah,
you just had a woman a year ago go into a coma because she fought a man in the UFC who was transgender.
which
He
is that
literally, yeah, he almost
that's
killed her.
just wrong.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and that's and I've talked about this before too. I mean, that's just the thing. Like, I find when I watch these new movies and stuff that the female empowerment angle, uh, I talk to. There's a lot of women here on my channel. There's other channels I've gone through who have a lot of level-headed, clear-minded women on the channels, and they've even said too, it's very patronizing. It really is. Hollywood thinks that they're doing women a favor, they're championing for them, but if I was a woman I would be insulted because it's like they're still messaging like you have to be a guy or be viewed like a guy in order to be taken seriously. And I think that sends a terrible message. It's like, why? There were so many good movies and shows and things that had positive messages that were talking about the same things. I mean, you have strong female role models, and yet Hollywood and the media would just act like it never happened, like it's never existed until now, until this big push that we've seen in entertainment. Like, there is no female athletes. There is no female role models. There's tons of them. You could go back, you could go back into history and Lewis and Clark and all of that. There is positive female role models throughout history who have done tremendous things, and they didn't have to beat the crap out of a guy to do it. They did it playing to their strengths. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and the problem is society doesn't want to acknowledge that. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And for me, if I was a woman, I would be offended with the way that I'm viewed now, because it's very condescending and rude. Honestly, it is. It treats women like they're delicate and things like that. And for me, I think that's more insulting.
Well, and they basically train women to say it's okay with men playing their sports because they're afraid if they say that's wrong that they'll be considered a bigot or something. And
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy.
it's become like a joke now because literally you have men who aren't transgender, they're not gay, they just want to play women's sports. Like there was this one guy that I was reading about that dominated the track. He's a track star in the female cycle, and the women are so upset, but they're being told that they're bigots because they're upset at this guy dominating their sports. And I seen this guy on TV. He looks like a guy, and he says he's a woman. He grows his hair long, and he's a woman now. And he's in track and field in the 100-yard dash, and he's winning these races easy.
And it's sad too when you think about it, because think about the women who have been training with maybe they do it with their mom and their dad. They're so proud. They've won all of these things before they get to the big time, right? They put their heart and soul into training, and it's so disgusting and disrespectful because it takes all of the hard work. And look, I don't give a shit whether you talk guy or girl. If you work hard and you put in the time and the effort, and then you're just cheated like that, that is really sad. That's a sad state of affairs, because
the Olympics,
to me, it's cheating.
Think about this. The Olympics is thinking about accepting this. The Olympics. That would be
such a big, that would be such a slap in the face to all of the people who work hard.
And that's a slap in the face to women. It's a slap in the face to women is what it is.
Without a doubt, because you have look for instance, the Olympic gymnastics team that won, that all-female team. They were phenomenal, right? That would be like taking that group that worked hard, that formed that bond, that put in the hours of training and did all the stuff you're supposed to do, and then nope, you get beat out by someone who identifies that day as a girl. I mean, it's so sad. It's really just sad how this could be so accepted. And they say, oh, this is what people want, but there's people here in my chat just like right now who are talking about how they feel about it. Like it. Who speaks? Who are these imaginary people? I want to know, that they claim that are down for this, that care about this. They don't. They're actually, what's sad? Women fought to have rights, to not have to wear dresses and things like that, and here we are, and we're setting them back again. It's a disservice to
Lee,
females who have fought.
Could you do me one favor? Can you
Sure.
pull up what I just sent you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you see this woman right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's a UFC fighter. That's a man. She's the one that put the other woman in the hospital. Now take a look at her. Look at the arms on her. Would you want to get in the ring with her if you're another woman?
I wouldn't want to get into the ring with her.
So you're saying, but she literally put this other woman in the hospital.
I know
Joe Ro-
that's
Joe
scary.
Rogan Joe Rogan did a show on this. Joe Rogan did a show on her, and he was so upset that and he basically was saying, "What the hell's going on here? I mean, you put another woman into the ring with this woman." You know,
Geekocidal Tendencies made an excellent point, and it's to your Joe Rogan point. He said Joe Rogan is a voice about gender swapping in sports. He is not the only voice not afraid to take a stand against it. It's trendy to say it's okay till someone is killed, and that's the point. I mean, this fighter put somebody in the hospital. I mean, UFC can be rough. We followed it since the early days with the Gacy and everything else like that. But when you have something that like that, where you're having people who could legitimately die, I mean, that brings it to an unsafe level. That's no different than athletes who choose, right? The
oh yeah,
athletes they point out.
and the problem is these men that are saying they're women, they are literally juicing already also. And well, listen to this. This woman defeated Tamika Bretts by TKO 2 minutes into the first round of their match. Brent's eye injury resulted in a damaged orbital bone that required 7 staples. In the post interview, Bretts told WTV, "I've never felt so overpowered in my life. I've fought a lot of women and never felt the strength that I felt in a fight as I did that night. I can't answer whether it's because she was born a man or because I'm not a doctor," she stated. "I can only say I never felt so overpowered in my life, and I am abnormally strong female in my own right." And so this woman is talking, the one that she hurt and crushed her orbital bone, is saying that she never felt so much power. So that's scary when you think about it. Here you
Oh yeah,
are, and you get in the ring, and you just feel overwhelmed. They talk about women. How about all the women that are beaten by men, husbands, and boyfriends and stuff? There's no difference. This is the same thing.
oh yeah, yeah. It's scary. It really speaks to the ass backwards priorities that these people have when it comes to these statements of gender neutral and all that stuff. I mean, this is a real scary issue, you know?
Oh, without a doubt. And this right here, I guess, this is the actual fight.
They could have cambered it a little bit better. Oh yeah, you can tell, like, by the way she's grappling her, that she can't even match strength. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I don't even want to show it because it gets real ugly after that, where she hurts her really bad. But it's like, and this is going to continue, and that's the bad part, that it's going to continue in sports, and nobody's saying anything.
Geekus Idol wants to know if that was on the if that was in the UFC.
No, they won't allow that in the
I-
UFC yet, until they get sued, and then you can see things change.
But yeah, I mean, this has just been a great conversation. We started out with UFOs, but got to this. I think it all swings back together, though. About just the way the stuff is going, and keeping an open mind and challenging yourselves and questions. But I think we had a really great discussion tonight. I really appreciate everyone's input. It was great to see. It's kind of funny because 50 years ago we would have been called crazy and laughed at, but now it's a real it's a real topic. It's really something you can talk to, and people, really do engage in it because there's proof. There's starting to be a lot more proof now, more pictures, more clearer, taking photos. I mean, and it's scary, but at the same time, it does give you that child sense of wonderment. I woke up today, and I got to be honest with you, I was excited to talk about this because, uh, it does open up that sense of wonder. I think we need to keep that as a society. We need to have that sense of wonderment and wanting to know more, because once you lose that, it's just depressing. It's sad, especially, with everything else we talked about. We got to keep that open mind and that sense of wanting to know more, because without that, we're just a bunch of robots walking around. So, anyways, you guys can check out Elder Zod's channel. He's got some hard hitting, factual stuff, some political stuff. So, if
Well,
your politics lean that way.
I got two videos coming up. One's on Rush Limbaugh, because the other day he did a show where he basically said goodbye. He's dying of cancer and he's in his very final stage. And I got something on that, a video on that. And also I have a video on the final stage of the election. But that's basically it on that one. But I gotta go, Lee. I gotta go.
Yes.
I'm tired as heck. I'm an old man. Remember that. I'm not like you. Okay,
That's
kid?
okay. I could close her out. You have a good night.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
So, Geekocidal tendencies. Yes, I know. UFO and trans. Great night. Thank you. I appreciate it. And everyone, thank you so much. I've had a couple of great shows. I'm going to be coming out with a couple of different videos. I'm talking with Stevie now, so me and Stevie J might collaborate on his channel. So if you guys are keen, you can come over there and check us out. We're going to be going on Wednesday. More updates on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard news. And, of course, we're going to be doing some late night talks next Friday. Me and PB and probably Cybernetic Husky are going to go over all of the Mandalorian, and we're going to get you guys' opinions of what you think of the show. We're going to talk about the whole season, and as a season, how do we feel, our overall grade for the whole season. So it's been up, it's been down, but we've genuinely liked it, and it'll be, at least we have some excitement with Star Wars again. Yay. And I'll also be coming out with a couple of reviews. I'm going to do a review with my girlfriend on Promising Young Woman. So that should be interesting, because I think it'll be fun for you guys to hear her commentary. Bitchy doesn't come on often, but this movie was so good that we both feel the need to tell you exactly how good the movie is and why you should be watching it. I'm going to try not to do spoilers, because I feel like it's not as popular as, like, say, Wonder Woman, so people might not have the opportunity to go out and see it. So we're going to try to keep it spoiler free and just give you guys the basics and what we thought may tap dance around the ending, because that's probably one of the best endings I've seen in 2020. And I'll see you guys back here on Friday for another great late night talks, some stuff on Saturday, and then come over on Stevie's channel on Wednesday. And I will be posting all this stuff on my Twitter so you guys can keep up. It's at General Zod's FZ. And to all of you guys, have a wonderful night. And remember, the only rule here in the Fandom Zone: kneel before General Zod.